Myself, Gautam Kumar, I'm the speaker for this today's session. We'll be going through a short demonstration on the DevOps technology, what is the current market, who it's intended for, what technology is going to relate, and what are we going to cover in this as part of this course. We'll be discussing all of this. Myself, have studied network systems engineering from University of Plymouth. I have 9 years of industry experience in middleware technologies, RTL administration, build and release, continuous integration, and also the automations. So I've worked in multiple expertise and multiple technologies. So this is myself. So can you introduce yourself? So that we can know how to take the session forward based on your experience and everything.
Hi Gautam,
Yeah.
this
Okay.
is Ishwar.
Yeah.
I am working as a middleware administrator. So
Okay.
presently I
So
am looking for automation from related to middleware like web logic installations and web server and application servers installations. I am expecting this type of information.
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So how long you're working in IT?
It's almost 6+ years of experience.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Can we continue? Next was, I think Anisha has some mic problem. So Kishore has done. I see 4 or 5 people in the meeting. Can they introduce yourself? Okay. Thanks, Anisha. Only one person.
Yeah, hello.
Ishwar. Yeah.
Yeah, hello. This is Vinod Kumar. I'm a
Yeah. Hi,
Linux
Vinod.
administrator. Yeah, I'm a Linux administrator. I have an experience of 5 years. I'm purely a Linux administrator. I don't have any knowledge in storage and application deployment like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Currently, I'm
Okay.
working as a Linux administrator.
Yeah. Thanks, Vinod.
Okay,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
introducing yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
I see Koti and okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Koti. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Thanks for introducing yourself. We'll be going on with the session. So we'll be seeing what is today's agenda. So our today's agenda will be seeing what is evolution of software development. So why DevOps came? It's because it's the evolution of your software development. So we'll see what is evolution of software development, what is DevOps, then why we need DevOps. We'll be covering what are the tools what are the tools are there, and what are the phases of DevOps, and what is not DevOps also. Because sometimes people get confused because they can't classify what is DevOps, what is not DevOps. We'll do that, and we'll be seeing what we'll be covering in this course specifically, because there'll be many tools in DevOps. So we'll be discussing what tools we'll be covering as part of this course. Okay. Yeah, I'll be going on with the session. So evolution of software development. So what is evolution? So in every organization, every IT organization, right, the total life cycle will be to write a software. So our ultimate goal is to write a software and deliver it to the customer. So to do that, every organization will have a software development life cycle that is called SDLC. So the earlier SDLC was a waterfall methodology. So this waterfall methodology was based on a industry, because IT, right, it was only from last 30 or 40 years. So people have started writing code or writing software from the last 40 years itself. It's not a very huge industry, or it's not a very old industry, right? So what people have done, they have gone to the auto industry or the other industries where people are doing manufacturing from hundreds of years, and they have directly adopted the technology. So the waterfall technology was directly adopted from the automobile industry. So right, automobile industry, they do the design phase first, then they do the testing phase, all these things, right? The same way waterfall methodology was directly implemented from the automobile industry. It was based on a sequence. So the sequence is, first they'll be drawing the sketches. The same way, first they'll be taking the requirements of the customer, whether they want a web-based application, it's a mobile-based application, what are the requirements, all these things. Then they go to the design phase. Then they go to the what is a architectural phase. Then they start writing the code. Then they start testing the code. This was the waterfall methodology. So the waterfall methodology has a huge drawback because you can't go back to the previous phase once the phase is completed. So what is this? Means suddenly you have completed design phase and you started writing the code. So if suddenly the customer comes back, right? Okay, so my requirements have changed. That methodology didn't allow this to be happen. So this was a, what do you say? Implementing this will have a huge loss for the customers because you need to continuously take your customer feedback and continuously iterate your software. If you're not doing that, you'll be out of the industry, because if you have an app and you don't update your app for the next 3 to 6 months, right, people will stop using your app. So the waterfall methodology typically takes around 3 to 6 months to deliver a software. If you're delivering a software, right, under this SDLC methodology, the software will be delivered within 3 to 6 months. So the waterfall methodology was in the 80s and 70s, and it was not very useful, but it was useful at that time. But with the changing times, that was not useful. Then the lean methodology came. So the lean methodology, right, it was developed by the Toyota. Again, this methodology is also again directly implemented for the automobile industry. So till lean methodology, right, still IT industry was not having their own methodology. Means people were dependent on the other industries to get how to implement the software. So they were directly using other industries methodologies and directly implementing the software. So in the lean methodology, right, it was introduced to remove unnecessary options. So suppose you have a software and suddenly the customer tells, I need all this. What they do is they used to talk to the customer and ask them, okay, these features are not required. They used to remove the unnecessary features, and they used to remove unnecessary software features, communication delays. So at this lean methodology, right, people started communicating with the messengers, chat-based messengers, so that they had decreased their communication delays. And also they used to concentrate on the slow application response times. So if they had any response time issues, they used to try to fix it. So the lean methodology was also not very much helpful for the current industry. So then we had agile methodology. So agile methodology is a combination of an iterative and incremental process. So what is iterative and incremental? So what you do is, in an agile methodology, suppose you have 10 features that need to be implemented for the customer. So what you do is, you, instead of implementing all the 10 features in a single phase, you implement each feature in a small phase and you release that phase to the production. So this way you'll be knowing all the issues prior to the hand. So let me take you an example. Suppose you have a Flipkart.com, and in the Flipkart, right, suppose you have 10 features that you want to introduce to the customer. So you start writing code. So you have developers, you assign each task one of the developer, and there will be around 10 or 20 developers who will write the code. So once you have all the code, right, you match that code with the repository and you start testing it out. Then you start facing issues. Then you don't know which feature has causing this issue. So it will take a long time to troubleshoot your code, then to test it, that code, again the testing phase you may face issues. So instead of that, in the Agile, what you do is you take one feature, ask your developers to complete that feature, and you do the testing, automated testing. You try to do that all the phases of it automation. Then you start doing on the next phase so that it's easier for you. So you try to find the bugs easier, and your product will be faster to the market. Instead of delivering 10 features in 6 months, if you deliver one feature for every 15 days, right, your customer will be happy. He thinks, okay, my whatever company I'm using, right, they are very good, and they are every time they are changing their features. That's right, right? So everyone wants a new updates. If your app is not updating, right, you feel that, okay, this company is not good, let me switch to another app, like that, right? The same way, agile methodology is for the current markets. So everyone wants rapid development, they want to decrease the money, and they want the faster time to market. So agile methodology came into existence. So agile methodology was specifically written for the software industry. So with the agile methodology also, people were starting facing issues from the operation side. The development side was completely streamlined. Everyone was happy with the agile methodology. The software was being written fastly in small increments, everything. But from the development operations, people had a lot of inconsistency. What is the operation side? Operation side means creation of servers, deployment, installation of softwares, creation of load balances, all these things, right? These things were still using the older methodologies. They were not streamlined. So what issue happened is, software developers started writing code fastly, but the operations team was not able to deploy that as soon as possible. So because we don't have automation tools in place, we don't have softwares in place, we don't have compliance in place. So all these things were happening. So This has given birth for the DevOps. So when the agile methodology, speed is also the same way delivered in the operation side, right? That combination of writing software fastly and delivering software fastly to the customers has given birth to DevOps. Okay, guys, did you understand this? Guys, okay, thanks Anisha, Koti, all this. So any doubts? What is the SDLC life cycle? What is agile? Okay, yeah, let me consider you are all fine with this. So what is DevOps? So DevOps is not a product or a particular technology. So it's a methodology. So people confuse DevOps as it's a software or it's some technology, but it's a software development lifecycle. So it is a way how you deliver your software. So from the design phase to the production phase. So in the DevOps methodology, what happens is it will unite the separate functions of software development and production and operations into a single integrated and continuous process. So in any earlier software development methodologies, right, people were not connected that much. So the development teams used to be a different tower. They used to be in a different locations, and operations used to be in different place, and they used to not communicate effectively. So in the DevOps, right, you may need to communicate with the teams every day because it's a continuous process. So we do what DevOps teams do is they write a small piece of code and they do the testing of all the phases so that they want to find the bugs early. So DevOps is about breaking down the barriers. So what is a barrier? Because today in the IT environment, right, most of the people are still using a waterfall or lean. Most of them have not even adopted agile. You can forget about DevOps. People are not even adopted agile. Agile is being slowly adopted. So there is a huge gap between the teams. So someone will tell, okay, a testing team person, right? He'll tell, I have completed my testing. He'll sell the test results. The developer may not be happy. So again, the developer will send an email. It will take 1 or 2 days for the tester to reply back. Again, there may be issue in the middleware team. Middleware team will reply after 6 or 7 or so. It's not the effective barrier. So people want to close all those barriers and they want all the people to be on a single point and they want all them to be collaborated always. So the dev teams and the operations team must act and feel like they are a single team. Today, no one will feel like they're a single team. The operations team will have one manager, testing team will have one manager, and these managers will be fighting in between. They'll be throwing their like, okay, this is not our issue, this is not our issue. That's not going to happen in a DevOps. Everyone will be single team and they'll be taking up the work and they'll be discussing with each other. So we know what is DevOps. So we'll see what are the reasons for the DevOps to be implemented and DevOps to be rapidly implemented in the current market. Okay. So these we'll see what are these advantages. So the first one is faster time to market. Okay, I already told you. So if you're trying to implement incrementally is nothing but slowly you're taking all the features and you're breaking them into small updates and you start releasing, right? Your product will be faster time to release because you're trying to release every build in 15 days. Everyone will be happy because you will be happy because there is a new feature added in the 15 days and the customer will be happy because he's seeing rapid updates, and the person who has given you the project, he feels that, okay, these guys are giving value by giving them the project. The lower cost to deliver. Why is lower cost? Instead of taking a product with 20 features and delivering after 6 months and still finding bugs in your production is a lot better than trying to provide those updates within the same less time and also with less number of bugs. If you're seeing less number of bugs and you're utilizing all your teams effectively, then it will be a lower cost to deliver. So you'll not have any production outages. The customer will be happy, and the cost of delivery to the market will rapidly decrease with the high quality of software. So there will not be vendor lock-in. So why vendor lock-in? So all the DevOps tools which are currently in the market, right, they are mostly open source. So you'll not have much vendor lock-in. So you can easily move from one DevOps tool to another DevOps tool. So currently, let me take an example. Suppose you have implemented RHEL in your this one, or suppose you have implemented Oracle database. So Oracle database is a proprietary. You will be logged in. So there will be a lot of features for the Oracle database when you start using. So if you want to migrate or switch from Oracle database to Microsoft database, right? People will not be that much easy to move because there won't be enough migration help, or there won't be enough lock-in, because you'll be already paying Oracle 100 some crores of money. So you don't have your flexibility to move. But in DevOps, right, you have all are the open source tools, and there are easy migration paths. So suppose I'm using Puppet, I can easily migrate to Chef. So I don't have that much dependency. First of all, I don't need to buy the software first, so I can use an open source version. If you want a support based version, you'll also get a support based version. It's up to you. So you'll not have much vendor lock-ins. So you'll not be paying huge sums of money, and you'll not be logged in, because if you buy an Oracle product, right, the first time he'll be asking you for the product, and in the subsequent years he'll be asking you for the support. So for the product, you may give around $1 or $2 million, which may equate to around 8 crores. So you'll think, okay, I have spent the 8 crores, right? Why to move out of this? So that type of lock-in will not be there. So the fourth one is higher quality and fewer bugs. So if you are trying to implement a single feature, you will know at what point of that feature is getting an issue. So suppose you have written around 40 lines of code for a single feature. So if you face an issue, you can exactly know that, okay, this 40 lines of code is only making some issue. Let me find it out faster. So you can find your issues faster, and you'll have fewer bugs. Multi-cloud. So what is multi-cloud? So today, most organizations, right, they have their own data center. So you don't depend on any external providers, right? So like Amazon or Microsoft Azure or IBM Bluemix, right? People are not yet dependent, but all the new startups, right? If you take Flipkart, Snapdeal, Ola, these guys, they don't have their own data center. What they do, they have their complete infrastructure in the cloud. So if you are implementing DevOps, right, switching from one cloud customer to the other cloud customer will also become easy. What is switching? So suppose I'm using Amazon AWS architecture. So I'm using all the Amazon AWS resources. Let it be the storage, let it be the servers, VM, the load balancers, all of things. So suppose suddenly tomorrow Amazon will tell I am increasing all of my prices. So you can easily switch from one cloud provider to other cloud provider if you are using certain types of DevOps technologies. Because today, suppose you have an environment with 1,000 servers. Okay, can you move your 1,000 servers within 5 days or 1 week? No, because you'll have huge customization, and you don't have enough softwares or servers or architecture to move it. Because sometimes to migrate 4 or 5 servers in our environment, we take 2 to 3 months, right, guys? Because we are hugely dependent on the older technologies. They are not that much flexible. But with the DevOps tools, all the infrastructure, everything can be codified, and you can migrate your softwares or services from one server to other server, or one data center to the data center, or from the one cloud provider to the other cloud provider also. It's very easy. Guys, you're fine with why the DevOps? You have any questions in this slide? Yes, it's not platform dependent. Yes. So today, any software, suppose you take Chef, Jenkins, Docker, right? They can be installed on anywhere. So suppose you create a Docker container for Microsoft Windows, right? That can be deployed in Ubuntu or Linux. So suppose you write a Chef code. Chef codes are nothing but they are called cookbooks. So if you can write a cookbook for a chef, and that cookbook can be implemented on Windows, Linux, or what do you say, Solaris. So whatever the code you write, whatever the things you develop, right, that can be easily migrated. Suppose you write a Jenkins job in a Windows environment. That Jenkins job can be directly put it in a Linux server also. And you can code your infrastructure. Normally, what you do, coding, whenever you tell I'm doing coding, what you'll think, okay, that guy, suppose I think he's writing a code in HTML, or he's writing code in Java, and he's developing something, a web application or a Java application. But in the DevOps environment, you can code your infrastructure. Coding infrastructure is nothing but you can write a code telling that, okay, I want 4 servers to be created, and with these host names and servers and everything. So you can codify your infrastructure. So infrastructure as a code is one of the base principles of the DevOps operations side. So you can codify your infrastructure also, not just your code like writing in Java or .NET or C. You can codify your infrastructure, and you can write a code, right? Okay, suppose I have 10 servers, I want this, suppose I want WebLogic to be installed in 10 servers. You can write a code and you can run that cookbook or a specific script so that it will automate across the servers, thousands of servers. Okay, guys? Any doubts? Okay, let me move to the next slide. So DevOps implementation. So right, see, we saw what was the evolution, we saw what is DevOps, and we also see why is DevOps. See, ultimately everyone wants to save money, right? So they want to save money, they want better customer satisfaction, and they want less number of bugs. So these all three are perfectly ticked by the DevOps. And you can also reduce your workforce, because if you implement a DevOps, right, you may not need if you have a middleware team and operation and Linux operating system team, everything, right? What you could do is in a DevOps culture, those people will be decreased because you have huge automations in place. Okay, so we'll see how DevOps is implemented in an environment. So suppose your organization is using the traditional method of delivering software. So your organization wants to implement DevOps now. So any organization can be brought, any organization can achieve DevOps implementation in their organization by achieving in this below 5 phases. Okay, so what are these phases? Collaborative development, collaborative testing, continuous integration, continuous delivery and deployment, and the continuous monitoring. So let's see each of these phases. Okay. Okay, this is a wrong slide, guys. Let me go to the first one. Yeah, collaborative development and testing. So these are the first and second phases. So what is a collaborative development phase? So right now we all know, guys, right? The developers will be writing code and they'll be checking in their code to the code version control system. So are you guys aware of version control system? It's a place where your developers or all of your developers will be saving their code. So version control system is nothing but it's a place or a repository where all your code which is written by all of your developers in your environment will be saved and it will be versionized. So what is versionized? Nothing but today a developer has changed the homepage.html file for a website. So he has done a mistake. So he has already checked in and the code was deployed. And you want that code to be backtrack. What you do? You go back to the version control system. You take the version of that file, older version of that file, and you again deploy it. So that is why your version control system used. So as part of the collaborative development, the DevOps tool which will be implemented is JIT. JIT is nothing but JIT is a open source tool which is based on a what do you say, distributed version control system based software. So with this software, right, people, all the developers, right, they can effectively share their code, create a code, clone their code, or create a branches or integration, everything. So it is used for the shorter planning and development cycles. So JIT is used. So JIT is nothing but it's a version control system, the way you share your code or develop your code. Okay. This is the first phase. So if someone wants to effectively increase their developers interaction, right, they can achieve with the collaborative development, which is the first phase. The second phase is continuous testing. So continuous testing is nothing but all your testings, right, whether it's a manual testing, regression testing, smoke testing, acceptance testing, load testing, performance testing, all these testing, right, they should be accomplished through automation of testing. So we should have a zero intervention. We should not have any intervention. So for the continuous testing phase, right, what we'll be doing? We'll be using the existing continuous testing softwares, and what we'll be doing is we'll be automating them. So how we'll be automating? We'll be automating using the DevOps tools. So what we do is we take the, suppose you have a HP load runner, which is a performance testing tool. You install a plugin for that performance testing tool and you automate the testing, so that whenever a developer needs a performance testing of his latest application, right, you don't need anyone to ask. So, and suppose you want a regression testing, or you want a smoke testing, or you want a NIT testing, all these things should be automated. So for the automation testing, you'll have Selenium, you'll have JUnit, all this software. So as part of our testing, we don't want any intervention. Continuous integration. This is the third phase, and this is the most important phase, guys. So this phase will unite all the DevOps tools. How it will unite? So continuous integration is nothing but it is the practice of checking in code to a shared repository several times a day and testing in each time. So in the continuous integration phase, you have tools called Jenkins, Bamboo, and TeamCity. So what these tools do is they continuously go to the the code repository. They see if there are any changes. So let me take a broad example and try to explain you all the phases how they unite. So suppose you have 5 developers, and those 5 developers are writing code. Okay, so they are developing your existing app. So one developer, right, he will write a code and he'll check in all his changes. So suppose he has edited around multiple 10 or 15 Java files, and he has completely pushed all his changes from his local repository to the central repository. What the Jenkins can do is, instead of waiting for all the other developers changes to be implemented and waiting for multiple days, right, what you do is, suppose your developer today has changed only 2 Java files. You go ahead and take that code and you build your ER and WAR file, you deploy it on your application server, then you do end-to-end testing of that small change. Of that small change only, if you do right, you try to catch the bugs early. If you don't do that, if you have 5 developers and have their written code for a whole week, and you wait for the complete week ending, and the Monday you come and you start testing that code, right, you may find multiple bugs because you can't first distinguish which developer has written this code, and you may not find where is the error coming. So with a continuous integration, if you do all the integration test for every change in your developer, right, you can find your bugs easy. So the continuous integration software, right, this will facilitate that. All the phases will be automated. So you can design a plan that in the continuous integration software, what you can do is you can create a plan. In that plan, what you can do is periodically you can check the code whether any new files are coming into the code. Once you see a change, right, it will trigger a new build. So that build will be what you do. That build will take Maven. It will build the ER. Then it will deploy it, then it will do all the testings, and it will send out the results to the developer. So this way, if you continuously do this testing every day, right, you'll try to get a very high quality software with low bugs. This is the continuous integration phase, and this integration phase is the heart of the DevOps methodology. Then you get the continuous delivery and continuous deployment phase. So the first 3 phases, right, if you take the development phase, testing phase, and integration phase, right, these phases will be most of the on the development team side. So the last 2 phases, right, the continuous delivery and deployment phase, and also the continuous monitoring phase, right, these will be on the operation side. Because I told you, right, streamlining the operation side with agile is the combination is called the DevOps methodology. So we know that developers are writing their code massively every day. They are doing a lot of changes, and we want to test that change. So we use continuous integration phase to try to complete it. So we have completed that. So with the first 3 phases, right, we have a code today which is having less number of bugs, high quality, but what we want to do is we want to deliver that software to the production environment, right? So today people have their production environments which is spanning hundreds of servers. So you have a high quality of software which you want to develop to hundreds of servers. If you do this process manually, right, since humans, right, we may do errors, but the customers are not going to tolerate those errors, right? So we want a process through which I want to deploy a software across hundreds of servers with 100% consistency. I don't want any type of mistake to be happen as part of this deployment. So for this, right, your continuous delivery and deployment phase will be helpful. So it is a series of practice to ensure that code can be rapidly and safely deployed to production by delivering every change to the production. Okay, so we have automated tools which can be put in place so that whatever the code you have written, which is high quality code, right, should be deployed also in a high quality manner. You have high quality software and you are doing a manual process of deployment and doing mistakes, right? That is not helpful again. So this phase is helpful for the administrators so that they'll get a lot of free time to, instead of try to find the actual issues, instead of try to debugging always or try to doing deployments. Because in your organization, if you are having hundreds of deployments every week, right, all your middle managers or Linux administrators will be used for this phase only. They'll not be trying to help the development teams, right? If there are any actual issues with the integration, right, they may not be helpful. They'll be trying to do this phase only. So delivery and deployment phase will be an automation, and you'll have the confidence that the application that is deployed into your production, right, it is the same code across hundreds of servers. Okay, guess you are fine with this phase. So Koti, Anisha, Ishwar, all are fine. Okay, so I'm not getting any doubts. I'm thinking you're getting my session. Very good. Okay. So I told you continuous delivery and continuous deployment. So there is a subtle change between what is continuous delivery and continuous deployment. Okay. Both are the same phase. Both are the phase through which you will be delivering your software to your servers. So the change is your continuous delivery phase, right? Your deployment to your production will be manual. But in a continuous deployment phase, your deployment to your production will also be automated, because some people, right, they are still not happy with the automated deployment production. They feel that, okay, they don't believe that software still. They feel that, okay, humans are still efficient than softwares. And what they do is they have all the phases automated, but not just the production environment. So that type of environments is called continuous delivery environments. So if you have a environment whose deployment to production is also automated, then it's called a continuous deployment. In a continuous delivery phase, your automated delivery software will be deploying automatically your QA environment, integration environment, non-production environment, staging, pre-prod, all these environments, but not the production. The continuous deployment phase, if your production automation is also automated, then the environments are called continuous deployment environments. Okay. So this is a small difference. But you will be having automated deployments in both the phases, but the only difference is the development environment will be removed in the continuous delivery phase. So that's why these are all the buzzwords, right? People will be telling what is continuous delivery, continuous deployment, continuous integration. All these terminologies will be used based on their environment. So suddenly, if you are talking to another person who is in another organization, he will tell, we are implementing DevOps with a continuous delivery itself. So then you can understand that, okay, they are in the continuous delivery methodology, the continuous delivery phase. What you can understand is they don't have automation to their deployment. So if someone will tell we have a continuous deployment in our DevOps, right, then you can understand that all the phases are automated. So this way, people, when you tell, okay, someone will come to ask you, what is your continuous integration software you're using? So then you can understand that that is a third phase, and it's a part of the Jenkins, Bamboo, or a TeamCity software. Because people will not be telling you we are implementing this. They'll be telling you these names. So we'll be seeing what DevOps tools will be covering as part of this current course. Okay, guys. So as I told you, you'll have the planning phase, coding phase, build phase, test phase, the deployment phase, operation phase, monitor phase. So, okay, guys, I think there was a slide mismatch. I'll just tell you. So, yeah, this one. So the last phase is a continuous monitoring phase. So what is continuous monitoring? Uh, you all today have multiple monitoring solutions, right? You may have a monitoring solution for your network devices. There may be monitoring solution for your application servers, your hardware. Some may be having for your network devices and for your actual Java applications. So people may use Dynatrace or CA Introscope for your application. They may use some BMC remedy tools for your BMC tools for hardware monitoring, all these things. But a DevOps monitoring solution, right, it will be covering all your infrastructure items within your monitoring solution. So you don't need multiple different monitoring solutions for different infrastructure items. All of them can be covered with a single solution, and this solution can also be automated. So the current DevOps tools, right, you can't automate them. Everything you need to go to manually add the server and start monitoring, and you may need to give the thresholds automate manually. Then you may need to have the graphs, everything, and the exporting of data may not be helpful. So the continuous monitoring tools, right, which were built as part of the DevOps culture, right, these are hugely automatable. So you can create a server using a script, you can add a monitoring using a script. All these things can happen with the continuous monitoring tools as part of the DevOps. So the famous tools as part of this are Zabbix, New Relic, and Nagios. Okay. So as I told you, right, so if an organization is only implementing planning phase, coding phase, and build phase, right, you can call it as a agile development phase. So if they are only using it into the testing phase, right, then you can call it continuous integration. So that means that they are using DevOps tools only till the testing phase. They are not using DevOps tool to deploy their applications. So that is called a continuous integration only. So you're only getting the value till testing phase. So suppose you are using it to the release phase, continuous delivery. Continuous delivery is nothing but you're deploying your softwares only to your lower environments. That is called a release till the continuous delivery phase. So if you are using all the phases, right, then it will be called as DevOps cycle. So because you're deploying and also operating it. Operating is nothing but your monitoring solution. Okay. Based on the phase you use, there will be a specific name in the DevOps culture. Okay, guys. Any doubts in this slide? Everyone? Okay. Let me move forward. So we'll be covering what are the tools we'll be covering as part of the course. So as part of the build and plan phase, right, we'll be covering the JIT tool, the Maven tool. The JIT is used for the collaborative development phase. Maven is also used for the build process. So every organization will have build and release team. So as part of the build and release team, we'll be covering the Maven. Then the testing phase, right, we'll be not installing any software, but we'll be understanding how JUnit works, and JUnit test cases we'll be seeing. Okay, but most of the times, right, DevOps engineers will not be writing any Selenium test cases or JUnit test cases. So what we'll say is we'll see what are the softwares and how are they being used in the testing phase. Okay, then we'll come to the integration phase, which is the heart of your DevOps. So we'll be covering the Jenkins tool. In the Jenkins tool, what we'll be doing is we'll be completely implementing a DevOps lifecycle. What we do is we'll write a job where what it will do is in the first task, right, it will be going to a code repository and it will be fetching the details. Then it will be using Maven and it will be compiling the code. Then we'll take that Maven code and we'll be running the JUnit test cases. Once we run the JUnit test cases, we are going to take that and deploy on a Apache Tomcat automatically. All these phases, right, will be done without any human intervention. So that complete achievement, right, I'll be showing you. So you can understand what is a complete phase, how it will be on an infrastructure level, how people are understanding. I'll be explaining you. Then we'll go to the deploy phase, where you can automate your operations side. So you have the most famous deploy and operate tools are Puppet, Chef, SaltStack, and Ansible. So most of the other people outside in the market, right, they're only covering any one of the two. So what we are doing is we are covering both of them. Both the Puppet and Chef will be covered. Okay, so we'll be covering both the Puppet and Chef in detail as part of this course. Then we'll come to the monitoring phase. So the monitoring phase, you know, right, monitoring phase, you can monitor any of your network devices or software servers. So what we'll do is we'll be introducing you to the Nagios, how to install the Nagios, what are the Nagios softwares, and we'll also let you configure a server and the application server, how to how to monitor them. Okay, so these are the tools, and apart from this tool, we are also additionally covering Docker and Vagrant. Docker and Vagrant are a server provisioning tools. So you have a server, but you want servers to be created rapidly, right? You use Vagrant and Docker. So using Vagrant and Docker, right, you can create a new Windows server or a Linux server or any type of server within minutes, and you can destroy that server and again you can create a new server. So they are hugely important as part of the DevOps culture. So we'll be covering Vagrant and Docker also. Guys, you have any doubts? You have any things to ask in this tools? Koti, Anisha, Ishwar, any one of you? I saw multiple people, others also joined. Prashant, Vinod, any doubts? Let me tell you, or you can inform me that we are fine. Anything? Fine,
hello
guys.
Gautam.
Yes.
Yeah, this is enough.
Yes.
I'm using VMware ESX server. I'm using templates and
Yes.
within minutes I can create new virtual machines. Is it related to Vagrant? How it be related to Vagrant?
Yes, it will be created to Vagrant. But okay, can you write a small 10 lines of code and give that code to developer to create ESXi? That is possible?
No.
No, yeah, with this it's possible. Everyone can understand this and you can rapidly create it and you can codify it in Jenkins. Suppose what you can do is you have a requirement and whenever you do a testing, right, you can create a new server and install that Apache in that and you can test it. So it's that flexible. So, and your Docker and your Vagrant are very much, what do you say, integrated with the Puppet and Chef. Suppose you have what is it, with the Vagrant, right? You can install a new server. During that installation process itself, whatever the softwares you want, right? You install those softwares using Puppet and Chef. So, and you can create users. We don't need a Linux administrator again. We can create specific users. We can add LDAP. We can install software. So everything can be automated. So I'll tell you. Suppose we want a new software or anything. What you do? Typically, we go through the life cycle of okay. You ask for a new server, or else I'll send an email to the VMware team or a ESXi team to create a server. Then they'll take around. Then they'll ask you a change ticket, then that needs to upload, then someone will be assigned, he'll be creating it, then there may be issue. So that all not are they are all not required. With a small script, right, I can create my virtual server within minutes and I can get all of my softwares which are required and I can uh, customize the operating system as per my requirements. I can create users, everything, and I can install the softwares and I can deliver that environment to the development team within minutes. So that is the power of DevOps. So DevOps will decrease the time everywhere in every phase. You will be saving hundreds of hours. You got it, Devan?
Yeah, okay. I got it.
Yeah. See, every phase, right? So in a 100% DevOps phase, right? Each phase should be 100% automated, and the people will only be used the resources, right? They only concentrate on enhancing the software. So that's why. See, today people, right? Most of the time they'll be utilizing their time to trying to fix the things only. They'll not be using the time to use any productive thing. So if a middleware person is given enough time, right? If he's given enough time instead of deployment, right, he may write some good softwares, he may write some automation things. So that time is not getting today. With DevOps, right, people have enough time so that they can start on innovating things. They can think, okay, how can I add value to my customer? How can I add value to my team? So people can think in that way. So DevOps tools give you that enough time so that you can work on actual things on innovation and upgradation instead of every time doing all your what do you say, manual things or automation deployment or all these normal things. People want that, so that's why they implement DevOps tools. Guys, any doubts? Okay, let me move to the next slide. So I told you who are all applicable. So let me tell you a list of what you say, the IT teams which I feel are very much what you say are suitable to the DevOps profile. So the first one are the developers. These guys are the top in the chain and they are always applicable to any type of thing, because once you start writing code and understanding softwares, it's easy for you to maintain any software, right? If a Java developer, right, he can easily migrate to WebLogic, right? Because he's not inventing anything. So the first thing, always a developer. Then the next thing are the middleware administrators, a WebLogic, WebSphere administrators, right? These guys have a huge advantage of migrating from their current profile to the DevOps profile, because they already know what is build and release, what is ER file, what are the softwares, how they, and a middleware administrator will already be interacting with the testing teams and database systems, right? He'll know how to what is a collaboration, how to effectively collaborate, everything. Then the next things are RHEL administrators, Solaris administrators, because the Linux administrators also will be always be interacting with multiple teams. They always interact with the database teams, middleware teams, testing teams, because they'll be in the process of installing softwares, operating it, writing automation things, everything. So they are also in a good position. Then the next thing are the what do you say, the application release engineers. So app support engineers, right? They already have knowledge on the on the Linux basics of Linux commands. They know how an application runs, what is the phases of application, how to do the testing, all these things, and also on development or SQL tools, right? So they are also very much in very much suited to the DevOps. And also the last and final one is the freshers. So anyone who is starting their career in DevOps, yes, they can start, because the level of expectation for a 2-year DevOps person and a 6-year DevOps person will be different, right? So anyone starting their career, they can also start their career in DevOps, or else all the other persons, right? They are all very much suited for the DevOps. You have any other doubts? Do you have any other profiles in the call other than which I have told? So you all suit for this, right? All of you?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So scope of DevOps. That's scope. So today, see earlier, right? Bankings, telecom, and retail, right? These people have a huge IT budgets, and they can define the industry. Because suppose if 100 or 200 world's biggest banks are implementing some software, right? That software will become a hit, because they'll think, okay, that much big bank is only implementing, they'll also implement. So earlier softwares, right? They used to be costly. The large organization used to buy it, then it used to come to the smaller organizations. But with the DevOps, right, it's the opposite. All the startups are using the latest softwares, and the bankings are not adopting it. That's the reverse happened. So everyone, right, most of the organizations, if you exclude small banks and everything, right, 90% of the teams are already migrating to DevOps, and these bankings are also implementing, and they are implementing in a small phases manner, but they are also implementing this DevOps. So if you this is going to be de facto standard, guys, because people don't want all these multiple teams. They don't want all these communication barriers. They don't want all this change ticket process, everything. They want anything to be happen rapidly with a huge cost optimization. Everyone wants that, right? If I have a team who is rapidly creating servers, testing it, and delivering their code to the customers and being happy, everyone wants this situation in their companies. That's why people are rapidly implementing DevOps technologies into all of their organizations. So if you go to the DevOps, right, in the future, right, you'll have a good a chance of becoming an architect, because an architect, right, he need to see all the phases, right? So if you come to the DevOps profile, right, you'll be understanding all the phases, right? You'll know how developers interacting, you know what is testing teams doing, what are the softwares, how to integrate them, what are the servers, how many. So by going into the DevOps profile, right, within with a 10 years or 12 years experience, you have a very good chance of becoming an architect, because uh, anyone can't become architect, guys, because to become an architect, people should have a knowledge on broad aspects of a IT infrastructure. So by going to DevOps engineer, right, in the future you'll have a good chance of becoming an architect, and architects are always in in demand, and they will not be removed jobs, because architects will never lose their job as easily as other persons. If you are working only on for a 10 or 12 years for a middleware administrator, or a Linux administrator or anything, right, you have a huge chance of losing your job, because the same job can be done by 5 or 6 years, right? Because you'll not be innovating much, right? A Linux administrator will be having specific constraints, and he'll be only working in that constraint. He'll not be doing any magic things, right? But a DevOps person can keep doing magic things, because he can keep implementing new technologies or methodologies, and he can keep saving money for the organization. So in the future, right, I think your middleware administrator, Linux administrator, Windows administrator, the VMware ESXi, they're all going to be in trouble, guys. They're only going to be DevOps engineers in the future. So at the max, in the 3 to 4 years, this change will be implemented. Already, people are already expecting people to have DevOps tools on their existing. So in the Linux, right, they're expecting Chef, Puppet, and Docker to be already there in your next profiles. So it's going to be a de facto standard. So one more thing is early advantage. So DevOps, right, it was introduced in around 2010, and it was only it was mainly started being implemented in 2013 and 14. So it's only around 2 to 3 years only which is implemented. So the person who is being interviewing, right, he'll also be new to that. So there will be a huge advantage for your interviews, because the person who is interviewing you is also, right, he'll also not have much experience in it. So what you can do is you understand the tools, right? If you can explain your tools, how you're implementing, right? That's more than enough. They'll not be asking, okay, in Docker or Puppet or Chef, can you explain that configuration, this configuration? They're not going to ask in that manner, because people have not that explored their tools or implemented tools. If someone is having a DevOps position, right, that may be a new position, because people may be first time implementing in their environments. So they'll not be asking you DevOps tool. They'll be asking you how you understand the architecture, how you understand the infrastructure, how you understand the cost savings, how you understand what is collaboration. All these things they'll be stressing you. Okay. So you'll if you have a new to the industry, you'll have high earnings, right? If you are any cutting edge technology, they'll be earning higher money with the same experience with the other technologies. Yeah. Any questions in this slide, guys? Everyone is fine? Vinod, Anita? From my side, that's it, guys. If you have any questions as part of the course, you can ask.
Gautam, this is Prashant. I joined bit late. Sorry for
Yes,
that.
I saw.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to know. I wanted to know like how many days it will take for the complete course to complete.
So we'll be covering 45 hours of session. So every day will not be 1 hour. So some sessions will be 1 hour sessions. Some sessions will be 1.5 hour sessions. So it will be taking around 25 to 30 sessions.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, we'll not have 45 days for 45 hours, but for the 45 hours will be completed in lesser sessions, because when we discuss a topic, right, we'll be discussing in detail, so that you'll also be understanding. Because if I break it at 1 hour, again, I may need to bring you back to that step. So it's easier if you have a 1.5 hour sessions. Yeah, but we'll be covering 45 hours of sessions, and we'll be covering all the contents which we'll be providing as part of the course content to you.
Thank you. And I just wanted to know like what are the prerequisites, like what all the things we
The
need to.
prerequisites, right? The prerequisites are you need to have basic knowledge on Linux. You need to have basic knowledge
Yeah.
on what is network, what is IP address, what is host name. You need to basic understanding of a resources. If I tell you network, you need to understand what is network. If I tell you firewall, you may need to know what is the meaning of firewall. So that basic concepts of IT and a basic knowledge on Linux administration, that is fine. Linux
Oh,
administration means I want you to know what is RHL, what is LS command, what is CD command. I want you to know those.
oh, all basic things.
Yeah, basic commands. I don't want you RHL administrator. I don't need you as an RHL administrator. I want you to know what is Linux, what are the commands, how to interact in a RHL server, and all the basic commands, right? If I tell you what is web server, you may need to in a position to understand what is a web server. Web server is nothing but it is a server which will be hosting HTML content, so that users can interact with the website. So that way, if I tell you what is web server, right, you need to understand, okay, web servers are nothing but they are the servers which will be hosting Java softwares like a WebLogic, WebSphere, JBoss, or Tomcat, like that. So the basic knowledge on the market, that's all. I don't want a huge understanding.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Still any other doubts, guys?
Gautam,
Yes.
actually, I have a virtual box. Actually, I used to maintain the
Okay.
operating systems like Ubuntu and Red Hat. So for practice session, is this fine, right? Is there any minimum RAM how
Yes.
much
So the
capacity?
practice session, I'll tell you in two ways. The first way is you can use your local. The other efficient way is I'm going to introduce you to the AWS, and I'll be showing you all the things in the AWS. See, the AWS is free for the first 1 year under certain conditions. So if you create a new account on the Amazon, right, you get a server which is free for the whole 1 year. So if you keep that server running for the whole 1 year also, Amazon is not going to charge you a single penny. So building a new server from the scratch, right, always may not be easier, because everyone can't have a 8 GB RAM, right, a PC, and they can't have higher configuration. So
Yeah.
what I do is, the first session I'll be showing you the two ways. In the further sessions, right, I'll be showing you everything on Amazon. So creating an Amazon server is signing up is free, though you give your debit card details. But if you use the same type of server, one type of specific server, it is free for your whole 1 year. So I'm going to tell you that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because learning in Amazon is also going to help you, because some organizations will tell you that we are not having our own data center. I'm using AWS. So this is not an AWS session, but still I can give you some heads up on AWS. So that way you'll have a what do you say, a practice on AWS.
Okay.
But you can also do the same thing, because see, I need a clean system of a Linux system. That can be any system. You can use it in anywhere, right? I'll be giving you step-by-step instructions on every class in a document. You take the document and implement it anywhere. That is up to you. I'll give you the
Yeah.
step-by-step instruction for each class.
Okay.
Yeah. The only thing is you need to have enough processing power, because most of the times when, right, we need to download a lot of softwares as part of your installation. So your network bandwidth might not be suitable. But if it's the same software, right, if you're using an Amazon server and you want to install any software, right, using a yum installer or apt-get, right, you can install within seconds, because you'll have around 10 MB per second download speed. So if 600 MB software you want to download in Amazon, right, it will be in just 1 minute. That way, right, you'll have a consistency and you'll have a clean system whenever you want.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah, but it's up to you. So every session will be done in the RHL, because RHL is the de facto standard of organizations, because RHL is the most preferred cloud server. So everything will be introduced in the Red Hat servers. Okay, RHL 7. We will be taking RHL server as the base server for all the what do you say, lab sessions.
Oh, 6.5 is enough, right? So it's good, I think.
6.5 is also good, but 6.5 and 7, there are huge number of consistencies and features. So you know, right, what do you say, chk config, system ctl, there is only small sense. System ctl is a new command for some of your start and stop services. Other than that, 6.5 and 7 doesn't have much change. And your file system, right, it's ext4, that is xfs. So other than basic changes, 6.5 and 7 are still the same. But I'll also let you know, guys, there is a RHL process through which you can download full versions of RHL freely. So I'll show you that. So you can go ahead and download RHL 7 and 6.7, whichever software you want, freely from RHL, and you can use them. Okay?
Yeah, sure. It's fine. Good.
Yeah. Yeah, but 6.1, 6.7, it's same. But 6 to 7, right, there's a minor change, but that's fine, because if you're learning the newer operating system, that's always helpful for you.
Okay.
Yeah. But we'll be taking RHL 7 as the base, but it will not be any difference, right? There are
Yeah.
underlying architecture changes, but not a huge changes in the commands, right? You'll be still using yum, you'll be still using cd, wget, all these things. So, guys, any doubts still? You're fine with the session? I need a response, guys. Okay, Anisha is yes. Kuti, I think Vinod has left the session.
Gautam,
Voting
like
issue.
classes will be daily, or is there any gap in a week, something like that? Just wanted to know.
Yeah, so we'll try to have what is it, daily, but sometimes, right, if I cover a session with the installation and configuration, right, you may not have enough time for that day, because everyone will not have time to practice every day session, right? So sometimes
Yeah.
if I cover a big topic, right, I'll be giving you 1 day of space so that you can practice, because everyone will have their own personal issues and they can't practice every day, right?
True, true. Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't push you all the software within some days, and you may skip, you may not be on the par, right? So if I introduce if I cover you a topic like a normal topic, right, I'll be taking a next session. So if I'm covering with something installation, configuration, everything, right, I may give you a day's gap so that you'll have enough time to try it out and try to come back to me with issues, so that it will be easier for you.
Yeah. True. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yes. Because if I cover a chef and puppet within 7-8 days, right, within the 8 days you may not have that 8 big hours, right, because me telling I have a huge knowledge and I can rapidly run the commands, but when as a resource, right, as a trainee, you may not have the confidence. You'll be thinking, okay, what happens if you run the command? So you take a lot of time. So that's why. So I'll give you enough time for you guys to practice it and come back.
Yeah, that will be good.
Any doubts, guys? Koti is fine. Okay, Koti has picked, right? I didn't remember the voices. You guys are fine?
We are good.
Okay, yeah. Okay, guys, then,
Thank
yeah.